and he talks to you, and that's a good thing. You're good people, and I know you mean well. And Shamar needs to be surrounded by people like you, that can say, hey, fix this, fix that, you know, because the industry doesn't like too messy. When it's too messy, it becomes too difficult.
Well, that's what I'm trying to explain to Shamar now. Even up here on other income streams that he could get his hands on, you can't have your personal life that personal where you're up here acting like you would in the projects. Okay, outside in the street, you got to
Right,
be a chameleon. You have to adapt to all situations, and you have to wipe your feet off when you come on these social media platforms. You got to wipe your feet off when you're around these big wigs, I call them. These entertainers, these producers that you can get a bag real money from.
right,
You can't act ratchet and be cussing and carrying on and all high up and drunk up, or even if you're not high up or drunk up, you sounding high up and drunk up, but you're really just acting yourself. Sometimes we have to do things that we don't want to do, and it
yeah,
has nothing to do with selling your soul. It's called respecting yourself,
right,
knowing how to act accordingly around situations that you need to be accordingly. Ain't
right,
got nothing with had nothing to do with, oh, you ain't keeping it real. Keeping it real ain't being ghetto in front of a place of business, something that's helping to put a roof over your head and pay your rent, put food in your refrigerator, a situation that's going to help you provide for yourself. Why would you mess that up because you're trying to put on an image that you think that everyone wants to see you be? The
right,
heck with what people perceive of you or want you to be like. Those
right,
people are not putting a check in your pocket. Those
right,
people are not helping you grow. If anything, they're waiting for a train wreck,
right.
and they're
Yeah,
not your friends.
yeah.
Okay.
And to respond to Bonita, what she said just there, uh, these Atlanta streets, man. You got to be able to sign off on the check that you're cashing. You
Yeah.
know, Yesterday I almost saw a knife fight yesterday in the street in Atlanta. You know,
Wow.
so you got to be careful. People are reckless. But at the same time, in this industry, $4,000, uh, $8,000, $10,000 on the big scope, it's not a lot of money. Because if you want to be an artist, you really want to make it in this industry, um, having the views, whatever they call clout, that's not going to get it done. It is
Hmm.
not to get it done. You have to reinvest that money into yourself. You gotta pay people. I mean, if you find a unicorn out there that's willing to work for free, well, hey, but realistically, it takes a lot of crazy money. So to do tours or be on a concert, that's 40 stacks. That's $40,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's
You know,
money. That's real money.
right? So um any artist, got to look at the bigger picture, than just chasing views and clout and being mixed in with drama and stuff like that. That's not going to get the job done. I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah, it's gonna have people not taking you serious, not wanting to deal with you because you're a liability.
Yeah.
Because if they start dealing with people that are liabilities, then people won't be taking these companies serious. Because them companies will be liabilities.
Yeah, public relations got to get paid. So if
Right.
you if you're bringing up a big conundrum headache, boy, that public relations check gonna got to get paid bigger.
Exactly. So that's why I was saying I did hear when Fendi said, she would love to work with Shamar, but he's a liability. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's something that Fendi's team, they're gonna have to weigh that on the scale, and see if it's worth it, even if it's gonna pay off enough,
But
or
do you think Fendi is the right fit for him? Is Father Shamar's need if he was to clean up his act? Honestly,
So, I believe in artist collaboration. I'm from the old school, and you can look at all of the greatest rappers and other artists. They did a lot of collaboration, a lot. So I'm a
hold
believer
on
in.
one second. Hold on one second. Can y'all please make sure y'all hit the like button? Support the channel. This is the marathon light. I mean, the marathon light. That too. If this is the marathon live, okay? So while you're looking at your other favorite commentators who will be on live for a minute and gone, you guys will be coming over back over here to look at what's going on and what we're talking about. So at least hit the like button while you're over here. Because some of your favorite commentators are not going to be on a live with you for 5 hours. I am right today. So at least support the channel and hit the like button. Dislikes are welcome. Go ahead, Ivan.
Um, with that being said, um, artist collaboration is good, and um, to be honest with you, in the business, you don't even have to get paid sometimes with collaborations. You're gonna get another subset of audience to be a part of you, you know. And yet collaborations can be difficult. It depends. Um, if you are about the money, then it gets difficult. Now, whether if Fendi's management team is right for Shamar, um, I don't think so, because in that camp, the star is Fendi. That's their star. That's who they're going to be more loyal to. That's
Advocating to.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I believe that Shamar needs a manager that is focused on him, and then he could do a co-partnership with Fendi team and still be under her brand and still work, get paid, get royalties, and they can have a very beautiful thing, you know. But
Right.
to be completely under somebody, it gets risky. It can get very messy, especially when there's a capital, a top star already there. And it gets difficult. He can ride the wave, but it's up to Shamar on how he handles that and deals with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, the ball's in his court then.
Right.
Ball's
Right.
in his court. Like I said, he's got to. Like I said, I think it's the circle that he's around that he doesn't really have sometime to sit with himself and think of common sense, because he's around people who don't have common sense and they're trying to rock him to sleep.
Right.
Like the dude I was saying earlier to the audience, to my supporters, LaShawn, I get very bad vibes from him. I don't see any good coming out of him hanging around that character. I think he's going to end up getting Shamar into something that Shamar cannot dig his way out of. That's just
Right.
my opinion.
Sure. Um, I've seen a little bit of their interaction. Um, Positivity. So in this business, you want to be surrounded by a lot of positivity. You want to be surrounded by good people. Drama is not the way. Um, and I believe they had a falling out before. And the fact that they're hanging out right now, Shamar's got to look at motives. He's got to look at why and understand. So far, it's been reckless. His friendship, or rekindling with his friend, it's been a lot of chaos. So
Isn't there a stay away order right now with that guy? So he's not really supposed to be around him. So if something was to pop off and Shamar was to have a meltdown and call the police, LaShawn would go to jail.
yeah, from what I understand, there is a protection order between the both of them. So this is quite strange. Is there an ulterior motive to be close to Shamar? Very possibly. Are they actually genuine friends and they've gotten over whatever dispute they had? It's quite possibly. Um, I don't know them personally to know their actual friendship. But Shamar has to protect himself. Shamar's got to look out for Shamar. You can't, just because you've worked with several artists, just because you've blown up on YouTube, it doesn't say that you've made it. That's
Right.
far, far from it. So, yeah, you got to question that.
Yeah. I think that, but I mean, there's not really much for me to question. I know it's still my opinion, but I really feel like Shamar he's a person that can't be alone, but he has to understand that that's understandable, but you got to pick the right people to have in your circle on your team.
Right,
And if you got people who don't even value their own life or how they're living, how do you think they're going to value yours? He's got to look at the big picture. And like you said, people are going to start not wanting to do business with him from the company he keeps.
right. Yeah, and Toby Warner, to answer that, uh, over the years of watching Shamar, um, it's kind of hard to get SSID help, a caretaker, or anything like that on two fronts, because Shamar, he's very vocal about him being a star, being very well known, and that you can't do that with government assistance. That's very hard to do, and also he doesn't want that illusion out there that he is getting this kind of help. So he wants to be alone and he wants to live his life the way that he does. Yeah, we all can disagree, but at the end of the day, the laws here in Georgia is it's up to the individual to receive that kind of help.
Right. And he doesn't want it. So I guess that's not going to happen for him.
Right. And then
But at the same time, I feel like if he doesn't want that kind of help that he can get, so that people are not taking advantage of him, and they can get him on the right track, because obviously he fell off a lot, and if he wants to do it himself, he's got to sit with himself and realize what he's doing wrong, fix his wrongs, make them right, make them correct, so he can move forward. If not, man, I don't see nothing good coming out of his situation.
right, right. And he's in a pickle. He's in a bind. He's made some enemies. They're coming for him, and they're exposing, that he's on assistance, receives some kind of money, and then he's also getting decent bags, through his gigs. Um, and that's a slippery slope to go to the government and say, hey, I need help. And then when they run through his stuff, that's a slippery slope. That's for a lawyer.
And I wish he stopped even reminding people that word of suing and taking people to court, because there's people that can take him to court right now and he wouldn't have a leg to stand on. So that's why I wish he stopped even putting that into the universe of what he's going to do to other people, because there are people that can do that to him right now and really hurt him, you know?
Yeah, most certainly. Um, when you're in the public life, there's I wouldn't, if I was in the public life, which, right now, I'm on video, my face is out there, I'm outside, but I'm not going to expose myself to, oh, look at me, look what I got, look who I know, look what, you know what I'm saying? My skill is photography, videography, artist development, and if I'm working with somebody, um, it's about them. It's all about them. But at the same time, I would also advise my artists to, hey, you know what? Everything is not for social media. Your life doesn't have to be 24/7 on social media. There's some things that you just don't need to do. And it's better to walk that way because you're a mystery. You're a mystery to the people, and then the people want to see you and know you more, and they want more of you. And when it comes time to blow up, that you have that contract, you know, then you expose yourself and still in a professional light.
Right. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. Exactly. I agree with that.
Hmm.
And that's what my whole beef is with Shamar. It's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it. You have every right to express yourself, feel the way you want to feel. If you feel like you're a victim, even if in some cases you're not a victim, but like say if you feel as though you're a victim or being victimized, you have every right to feel that way. Nobody can tell you how to feel, but it's not what you do, it's how you do it is what makes me upset with Shamar.
Right. Yeah. I mean, uh, personally, SL. And by the way, hey chat. I know we just started this off.
This
Really
is
quick.
one. This is my mod. One of my top mods. Ivan in the building. You're
Yeah.
gonna see him a lot up on my lives because he's a conversation piece in itself, very intelligent, and also he's a thinker. I like somebody I can have a conversation with that is a thinker. He don't just be talking just to talk. When he says something, it's a meaning behind it all. Trust me.
Yes. Um. So shout out to you guys. Thank you for being here. Showing love to Miss Davis. She deserves it all. Um. There's just some things about this business that there's a formula, and it's very serious. If if you don't walk that formula, um, it does get really really hard. Some people has cracked it in their own different way. Um, and social media does do wonders. It really does. But just because you got 1 million, 2 million, oh, you became viral. Um, there's a lot more to it in this industry to dealing with people. Um, and me personally, um, as a viewer, the last what 5 years, I've been watching Shamar. I've been following Shamar. I've rooted for Shamar. Like genuinely, my heart and soul. I've wanted to help Shamar. Shamar is not the easiest person to reach to on social media. He doesn't check his DMs. I've tried. Um, but man, a cheerleader from my soul to say, I want to see Shamar make it. I've seen him be out homeless in the street. I've sent money to his YouTube. You know, um, Genuinely wanted to help him. I genuinely wanted to partner with his team, whoever he was working with, and just say, hey, look, I got these skills. I'm a cameraman, you know, um, and help develop him. Unfortunately, it's been difficult for me to get into that circle. But right now, and I'm gonna answer y'all's questions. Right now, it's not something that I can mess with right now. It's not something that I can do right now. It's completely out of my hands. Shamar is taking this beast left, right, up, down. But genuinely, that's
I think
what.
he needs to stop feeding into what's going on social media and do Shamar and stop being triggered. He's being triggered. People know how to trigger him because he's had so many people in his circle, and to me, that sometimes can build weakness in people. You know what I'm saying? When people know your every move and what to do to trigger you. You feel what I'm saying? You can't let nobody see you sweat all the time. We're human, so you're gonna see traits of people's behavior and how they're gonna move in certain situations. But you can't always let them see you sweat because people could take advantage of that situation.
Bingo,
Yep.
bingo. Oh, Miss Davis hit it right on the head.
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've been under pressure. Um, the other day I had someone reach out to me very last minute, and I live very, very far away. And you know what? I didn't get a haircut. I didn't see the barber. It that no it that's minuscule to me. I got to be there
Right.
for the artist, and you know there's under pressure things that happen, and you got to be able to keep your cool. You got to be able to respond. Um, not everything has got to be a viral moment. Not everything, oh, fuck, ah,
Yeah, yeah.
not everything's got to be that. Some people like elegance too. If you can respond elegantly and you can handle a situation elegantly, people gonna look at you and be like, "Wow, that's respect right there. Wow, you know what? I could work with that person because the way they handled that was so gracefully, you know. But I don't know, grace is something I guess that's taught, you know.
Yeah, but I think it sometimes starts from childhood. And if sometimes some people, because I'm telling you, what's normal to us is not the norm to Shamar or Alvo. You know what I'm saying? So it's learned behavior, but
Right,
they have to really break those generational curses because it's really hurting them now. And oh, excuse me, my throat. It's really hurting them now in what they're trying to do. It's their behaviors is standing in the way to, from their real success.
right,
How they're carrying themselves and moving and some of the things that they're doing. Just like even with not knowing the simplest things as revenge porn, videos and pics and doxing people, sending people's address. That's against the law. I don't know if people know that, but
right,
I'll be the first one to tell you it's against the law.
right. And it rings it with doxing and putting people's information out, exposing. Um, that's a very tough thing to deal with in this industry.
Hmm.
Because I've been on set, I've been on shoots, I've done a lot of stuff. Things don't go perfectly. Things don't go as planned. Somebody might be dancing, trip and fall. Somebody might feel sick, while doing a routine. And
Right.
people are scared of, oh, whipping out the camera. Oh, I'm gonna expose them. Oh, I'm gonna talk about this. I'm gonna talk about that. Man, that's a very tough thing. That's a slippery slope to run with, you know. And I don't condone that kind of stuff. I will never embarrass anybody, and I don't leak information that happened behind the scenes with anybody. You don't even have to
Right.
be my team. You know, I
It's just you come from a good cloth. It's just not something, right? Like you said, you from the old school. I'm from the old school. That's how it is with me. Just like for an example, giving an example of just how I know what you mean. I could have a fallout with somebody, whether it's on social media or somebody in my neighborhood. But okay, we had a fallout. That don't mean I have a fallout and I go around talking about that person or talking to everyone, talking about, yeah, we had a fallout and this is what happened. This is why we fell out.
right
Listen, you went your way, I went mine. That's all people need to know. I
now
don't
one
need to get into no long, drawn out, you know what I'm saying, conversation of what happened with the fallout. You went your way, I went mine. It's nothing more to talk about. We're just not kicking it like that no more.
But I'm gonna keep it real, and this is gonna be in. I understand Shamar's defense. I do understand it, and I get it, and that's his point of view, and that's his opinion. And I also understand the other side, Kay and all them. There's two sides to every story, and then there's the cut of the truth. You know,
Right. There's your side, my side, and the truth.
right now I will say this: if anybody comes for me about something, and they want to talk, and they want to you know, go against me and paint me in a light that's not correct, I
Mm-hmm.
respond. I am going to respond, and I will respond publicly. So I do
Right.
understand where both sides of the party is coming from. I always support your free speech, and I also support defending your brand, defending your character. So I'm not necessarily throwing shots at Shamar or K or anybody else. I'm not. I'm just
Right.
keeping it real. You do got to defend yourself.
I get it.
Yes, Queen Grandma. Yes, I totally agree. That's a very good statement.
It says if Kay thinks Shamar needs a caregiver, why does she keep sending people to fight, intimidate him, knowing Shamar will be overpowered? She needs to be locked up.
Uh, you want to comment on that?
No, you can. I don't. I'll chime in. I
Uh,
just happened to read the comment because I heard you say something about Queen Grandma. So, what was it? This you have to first start to let the past go and the negativity and start fresh to have a positive future. And
yeah,
then this one,
yeah, Shanti. So when you write a check that you can't cash, and you keep writing that check that you can't cash, you got a lot to say, you got a lot of mouth, and then you're also poking the bear. There's gonna be a response, and we all know that Shamar is loud. He's very boisterous, and there's only so much of the poking of the bear that you can do. You know, Shamar likes using fighting words. Shamar likes to fight. Well, he use he'll
right,
fight, but he'll pick and choose his fights. He won't fight, everybody and stuff.
right.
And uh, he doesn't. I don't think he really thinks about his disability that he has. Because yeah, someone that really has those intentions can really hurt him. You know. So it goes both ways, Shanti. It goes both ways. You cannot say, "Oh, he has a disability. Um, he can't be touched." It doesn't work like that in society. It doesn't work in these days. It doesn't work with anybody that you're poking the bear with. You know. So I kind of agree with that, but then I also see the other side. For if it was me on the receiving end in this situation, it'll be extremely tough to keep my cool. I'm just gonna be very honest.
Kay is not non-professional for her actions and would trigger me as well. Who boss?
Well, I don't. What I think is misunderstood with Kay, and I have seen Kay try to be the bigger person. Um, what's misunderstood is that until it doesn't happen to you, you don't know how you're gonna respond. To have your personal information leaked, to have your social security number, that is a massive headache. A huge massive headache.
So when Shamar was friends, well, business with Kay, he went into her personal stuff.
I don't so I don't know exactly how about that came about, but the fact is that it happened.
Right, right.
And
He got the information and he went and shared something.
you got to deal with Social Security. You got to deal with the IRS. You got to deal with credit bureaus. You got to deal with so much. You got to do it over again. It's reestablishing your whole life, your whole identity all over again. Um, I don't care what bad they've had. I don't care what bad I've had with other people. I've had sensitive information of other people, and we've fallen out. You know what? That goes in the trash. You know. So you don't know how you're gonna react until it happens to you. And if you got kids and you got family and other people around you are also being affected, I'm pretty sure a great majority is gonna be like, you know what, that deserves a good a whooping. You know, and that's just the way it is. You can't just sit around and sit back and say I'm going to be professional at all times, 24/7, regardless, no matter what happens, no matter what anybody does to me. Nah, nah. Let's keep it real. You know what I'm saying? We not in Dubai, y'all. We are not in Dubai. We are in the United States, and sometimes it's gonna have to come down to fisticuffs. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not gonna let nobody push me around like that. I ain't gonna let nobody treat me like that. I'm gonna keep it real. Yeah, the police, whatever, courts do what they do. But if you keep on and you keep on and you keep on, you're gonna feel some pain. I'm keeping it real.
Yeah, I agree with you. Shoot. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep poking the bear and don't think I'm gonna poke back. Shoot, hello, that's on there. Hey, Mina. I'm the same way as you. I think that goes for anybody. You know, you only gonna take but so much before you explode.
Man, listen. There's only so much you can take, and sometimes it's worth that misdemeanor. Okay, you know,
Right,
it's
right,
sometimes
right.
and once you get your side of the story out in front of the judge, you know what I'm saying? I mean these days, a little old fisticuffs and all that stuff, you don't really do hard time for that. You really you end up on probation most of the time unless you got priors, you know. Um, but when you take it to a whole nother level, talking about poo poo and um that kitchen utensil, you know, you know, but you never know how you're gonna react to some crazy stuff, y'all. Let's keep it real.
You don't know until you get in that situation. You know
Right,
what I'm saying? That's why I said we're not. Nobody's above life's classroom. Nobody's perfect. Like you said, you don't know how you're gonna react when somebody puts you in an awkward situation where you have to react. You just
right,
you just hope and pray that because you're human, that you just don't go flip the script
right,
and get yourself jammed up. But you don't know how you're gonna act. Says if I think someone was slow, disabled, and need a caregiver, I'm not taking them serious. It's not worth getting serious charges for assaulting a disability person. I'm grown. I have self-control. That is respected, Ashanti.
right.
Everything you're saying.
Yeah, it is respected, Ashanti, but at the same time, put yourself on the other side. You got somebody that's getting 40, 50, 70,000 views. The whole country is looking at you, and you have somebody saying these things about you, not just personally, business, your brand, things that you work for, your money. This is your money. This is how you make a living. You got kids, um, and you got this person, just trashing you. Okay, how much of that are you gonna take? Are you gonna let your bag drop to zero and your name and your brand drag through the mud, hell and back, and you're just gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna be professional about it. No, you gotta protect. You know, that's a very hard thing. If someone is trashing me, dragging me, and I'm losing business, and I got a mortgage payment. Oh no, this is gonna stop one way or another. Whether the courts do it or I do it, it's gonna be finished. So you got to put yourself on the other side of what's being projected, and then Kay. Look, Kay has went to the courts. She has called the police. She has done all that she can. I think with this situation, she's going to pursue it even more. She has to. Her identity, and her baby daddy's identity has been leaked. So I truly believe that she's going to dot her I's and cross her T's on this one, you know. But you can't blame her. You can't blame her if law enforcement is not taking it seriously, the courts are not taking it seriously. I'm not going to speak on on her behalf. You can't blame her. You can't. Regardless if he's disabled. Regardless. If you got mortgage and kids to take care of, who you gonna respond for? But I respect you. I respect Ashanti. I do. And I get it because I'm professional. We still connected? Did it disconnect?
I'm sorry, Ivan. Had to step away for a while, so I didn't want to interrupt you while you was saying something. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
I'm multitasking. Remember, this is a marathon, so sometimes you got to go to the ladies' room. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? A couple of times and all kind of
it's all
stuff. I don't want. Listen, I didn't want to interrupt you to say I had to go do that now.
right. Okay. It's okay.
you know?
I was like, did it freeze? Oh,
No,
it's
no, 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 man. I said while he's talking, I'm gonna go to the lady room. It says
okay.
all of them are immature and kind of slow.
None
Well,
is speaking about the
like I
long.
said, there's consequences to actions, everybody's actions. That's all I can really say. And none of them, I don't think that Ivan nor myself, we're trying to single out one person. Nobody's above life's classroom. That's for sure. And we have to hold people accountable, for the behaviors. And Shamar's got to be held accountable for his behavior. So does Alvo. You know what I'm saying? He's wilding out early in the day, the afternoon. He's up here dragging Shamar, as we speak for Phil. You know what I'm saying?
Look,
But it's like it's never ending.
Carlos, I'm no hater. I'm not at all. In this industry of art, um, it's 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 not about um, it's not about you. It's about what you offer to the table. It's about what you bring to the table in your own way. You know, um, so if Shamar career takes off, good, great, congratulations. You know, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that because Shamar and Kay or anybody who dealt with Shamar in the past, that doesn't mean that they also don't deserve um their doing in the business and the things that they do, you know. I don't wish for nobody to struggle and to lose their passion in something that they love. If they're bad business, okay, then they're bad business, but if they made it and they become successful, well, they did something right, you know. So I don't see no point in hating somebody and wanting to see them fail, you know.
Right. Doxing is illegal and leaking people's personal information is against the law. Well, you know what? It's against the law. I do agree with that. And I have said, put a Y in the chat if you all heard me say, people need to stop doing that doxing thing. Get mad. You want to put personal information out here online. That is against the law. Also, revenge, pono, I'll call it. Let's call it pono. That is against the law too. You know what I'm saying? But doxing is as well. And people need to stop doing that. That's why I'm saying a lot of people don't act like the brightest bulb on the tree. Not just Shamar, the whole circle. Get mad, they get in their emotions, and they do stuff that can have lasting consequences. You know what I'm saying? Jail time. You can get sued for defamation of character or again for doxing, because you're putting someone's life at risk when you dox them. You give out their information to the public because you're mad. You give out somebody's address. They got kids here. Somebody crazy pulls up for you and unalive somebody in their house. They're gonna take and you're gonna get in trouble for that.
So the law, excuse me, the law of Georgia, uh, the state statute laws, they don't have anything on doxing. It's not against the law in the state of Georgia. However, there is federal statute laws that you can file in court because that what Shamar did broke federal law. So that's the avenue that whoever is on that receiving end in Georgia, you have to file uh, federal case law under that statute of doxing and releasing your information. So it is tough for K to have an immediate response. It is tough for her to have law enforcement assist her because they don't see it as breaking their laws. But once you start filing on a federal level, or even report it to the FBI because this is a social security number. Now you're playing the big game. Now you're playing big dog, big legal,
Yeah,
situation.
because it's
So
on the federal offense level.
it's
Yeah,
federal. Yes,
right. Not state.
correct,
And
correct.
they don't play around. You can play around with the state laws, but federal, that's another ball game right there.
So if wisdom, wisdom warrior. I'm gonna answer your question. If you haven't known, Kay has filed reports. Kay has called the police. Kay has done what she could. I don't. So I'm just gonna keep it real. Georgia justice system is extremely difficult. Oh my God, it's like so backwards. It is extremely difficult. It's not the easiest place to have the courts um respond for you. Now, if it's domestic violence, Georgia will respond very quickly. For the most part, not all the time. They do drop the bag, but Kay has done that. I don't think that I don't think Kay has really understood the process of following through and being on top of the courts. But I think with this situation that transpired last night, I do believe that she's going to be on it like white on rice. So we'll see.
Right. Yeah. Because it went way to another level it didn't have to go to
Right.
so it says I don't disagree, but none of this should be on social media. You're right, but you got to also blame the people who put it out there. Like we're up here on the platform right now talking about the situation, but we didn't knock on their door and say, please Shamar, please Alvo, please so and so, please put your business out here for us to be so we can talk about it. They choose to do this, so we can't make them into victims, and you can't the people that are talking about them, you can't hold them accountable for it, because like my mother used to always tell me, when you put people in your business, they stay in your business. So don't put it out there in the first place if you don't want anyone to critique it or talk about it. Let's make it make sense. It's common sense. Don't put it out there.
No,
I
uh,
Go ahead.
Donna, uh, Shamar's information was long on the internet. It's been on the internet. There's other people that has put his information out there. So I wouldn't, and I would not say Kay was the first, or she was the precipice of his information being put out there. There's been many other people in Shamar's circle that has put his information out there. I believe, and now should she do it? No, she shouldn't. But I believe that once it was already out there, and with the stuff that she's been dealing with, she did what she did. I should probably get my tablet because I can't see the comments. Only when Miss Davis scrolls them. But isn't this a good show, y'all? Aren't you, isn't this informative? Isn't this, good stuff right here? Give it up to Miss Davis. Holding it down, rocking with us. You know,
Thank you.
she's we're gonna cover. I'm sure she's gonna cover other personalities here. We're just getting to the nitty gritty of the way things are, reality. What you may think and what may be um a certain process in your state, in your county, is very, very different here in
Yeah, you're
Georgia.
right. Because
You
you're
know,
saying stuff to me that in my state, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, but I live right now in Rhode Island. But in this state, which is the New England state, Rhode Island is too, the laws are much different than Georgia. And I'm just kind of shocked at how they handle things.
Georgia tends to adapt a lot of the same laws that Florida does.
Hmm.
But this one right here, it's mind-boggling because if this happened in Florida, Shamar will be in jail right now, immediately. So the fact that Georgia has a very different stance on this situation, it kind of blows my mind. Um, Chosen One, they said someone sent it. Shamar yesterday, he found out she called. Yeah, no. So I'm involved with other groups, other people. People have already been reported, Shamar, to the Social Security Administration. They've been doing that. You know, the fact that Kay did it, I mean, it's her right to do it. It's anybody's right to do that. If someone is receiving government assistance and they're getting bags of money, it is in anybody's right to report that. Now, me, that's not my business. I don't care. I don't care what you do. I don't care. Um, but anybody has that right, and we can't take that right away from Kay from handling things the way that she is. Um, if it now, once again, if it was you and you see someone else trashing your name, hurting your money, hurting your clients, and they're here getting a bag, come on, you wouldn't do the same thing? Let's keep it real.
Yeah, hurting your bag. Yeah, feed your family. You know what I'm saying? Putting you in a financial bind situation. Yeah, that's a threat. It would be for me. I mean, just the thought of knowing somebody can cut off those things for you, and you could be homeless in an instant and
Right.
can't feed your family or yourself. That's scary. That right there, just the thought of it gives me anxiety attack.
Oh,
Trying to
right,
tell you,
right.
because I don't got nobody but me.
I take care of family. I
Hmm.
got family that depends on me.
Right. So how you gonna go turn around and now depend on them, and they
Boy,
and they depend on you?
I tell you, you come for me, you're gonna see the real fire. I'm gonna be real. That's that, and anything's on the table for that. my mama, my mama, nope, nope, ain't happy. My kid, if I had kids, but my kids, what would you say when your kids is thrown into the mix, thrown online, threatened? Uh, Come on, let's keep it
Right.
real, y'all. You guys are looking at things as, oh, it's not such a big deal. It is a big deal. It is.
Ashanti, you have when you tag them, you put I'm sorry, you put the at symbol and then you type in some of their name, and then it should pop up, and then you can put the comment in there that whoever you're trying to tag. Go ahead, Ivan. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, so it's just crazy. Like I said, if people want their business off of social media, stay off of social media with your business.
Right, right.
And
You
if
know,
you do get up here about whatever that's going on in your life, it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Foxtrotter. Yes, I agree. I totally, totally agree. Here's the thing. When I started into the business, you know, very being very, very green, I had my street friends, I had my thug friends, I had my middle class friends, you know what I'm saying? And it's all a different vibe. However, when you're stepping into the spotlight, um, there's certain things or certain people, you can still be their friend. You can still be cool with them. They could be your best friend. But if they hood gutter, or they don't know how to act, and they're a bad influence, yes, there has to be some sort of a distancing in that aspect. You can still roll with them, you know, but that's the thing with Shamar. Shamar is not surrounding himself with like-minded people. You see, there's a difference. He's not surrounding himself with people that is a good influence, that's positive, that's about him. You see, I see it just like Alvo. Uh, Getting into Shamar's inner circle and then start twisting and manipulating the narrative to benefit who? Did any There is nothing that Alvo did that benefited Shamar. Nothing. And you can say, "Oh, he went on trips, he carried his bag."
Nope, he's an opportunist.
Right. You can talk all
He
this
did what an opportunist did would want to do to get to the bag or get to the clout.
right. You can mention the good things that Alvo did, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even have to be in a relationship with an up and coming celebrity or anything like that. Um, I'm gonna be at your service. And I may be just the cameraman. Oh, you need some help carrying something? Oh, I can get the door for you, or whatever I can do to help, I'm gonna do that. So there's really nothing of great value that Alvo brought Shamar. Let's keep it real. He hurt Shamar. Alva was the one that twisted the whole scenario with Miss Netta.
And
That
he's
was
still doing it. He's still doing it with everybody,
right.
twisting. He's sitting now. He's going from HIV and STD. I mean, he's doing it big time now. How do
Right.
you go from this extreme to this? Saying that Shamar gave you HI, let's say HI. To me, that's extreme. That's clout chasing at its finest.
That whole thing with Miss Netta was a shaking my head thing.
But you
That
know what
was
though? Let me tell you this too. It was a plot from the beginning because see, Alvo knew plan B, C, D. If this doesn't work, his clout starts diminishing. That's why he set up the whole story of exposing him at the bathhouses
right.
and talking about him sleeping with random men and how do we know he's using protection because he's so nasty he doesn't bathe and this and that and other, so that when his clout diminishes he can piggyback off of the bathhouse and oh I think I got HIV and Shamar gave it to me, and it'll be believable because he said it prior when he was with Shamar, but it's all was staged. It was a plot. It was a
Yeah.
plot from the beginning. So when
Right.
he got to this point of the clout diminishing, he could piggyback off of that to get back in the good graces of the audience and the clout. I'm telling you, there's an alternative motive, and it wasn't a good one for Shamar. It was a good one so that Alvo can win. So
Right.
Alvo is the focus. So
Right.
Alvo gets the clout.
Right. There were several collaborations that Shamar was coming up from, and Alvo destroyed it lightning fast.
Yep.
Immediately with the stupid drama, and he's in Shamar's ear manipulating the whole situation. And it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but I blame Shamar too because come on, he's not. People are like, oh, he's slow. No, he's not all that slow. Because I can when I play the rest of this audio, he even says he knew exactly what Alvo was trying to do. We know that Shamar's lonely. That's the reason why he probably had Alvo in his life in the first place. But he said Alvo thought he was gonna come into his life and he was gonna pretty much take care of him. He was gonna take his money and this and that and other. And he said no, he wasn't doing that. And so Alvo didn't lie about that part, but that's what Alvo thought he was gonna have a free meal ticket. And that's when he started getting desperate and started stealing it
Mhm.
because he wasn't going to get it free willing by Shamar. He thought that Shamar was so slow that Shamar would just be handing him money left and right, and that was not the case. Shamar is tight, and you ain't getting Shamar's money. You might get some sex out of him. You might get some of his time, but you ain't getting his money unless you stealing it. Shamar ain't even buying you a meal.
And the thing is that a lot of people, they're hooked on reality shows, and reality shows make it that there's drama. I get it. However, off camera and just being on social media with your life, drama 24/7 is not gonna sell. I mean, people get tired of it, you know? Uh, it's always the same thing.
That's true.
And I believe that Alvo's entrance and his narrative was, oh, drama's gonna get the views, drama's gonna get the clout, and that's exactly what he did. And did it there was really no benefit to Shamar on that end. Oh yeah, he got some views and some things, picked up, but Shamar is still in the same place.
Yep.
Come
Yep.
on now. It
Yep.
it didn't do anything for him. And then for Alvo, yeah, Alvo rode that wave, but man, that ladder's going down. It's going down because he ain't got no more. He's not in the circle, and now he's spinning narratives to keep his audience hooked and a bunch of lies. I mean,
Right.
how are people falling for this? Like seriously, like are you that dense that you cannot see uh his lies and then the drama he puts together and and it was just the whole thing was a scam.
I don't get that either. I think it's a thing that people don't believe those lies. They just want the people rather live in the lie because the lie goes on and on and on. And when people don't want to live into the truth because the truth ceases and desists everything. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what it is. You're not gonna make me believe people are just blatantly stupid.
Right,
They play stupid to keep the narrative going. They
right,
get the adrenaline rush from, this real because this is real life entertainment here. But at the same time, this is people's lives. They're people's lives that are willing to exploit their business, but they're not willing to take on the consequences for their actions.
right,
And I just don't get it. That's when they play victims. That's when people want to unalive themselves and all this foolishness. You
right.
know,
Yeah, Nick V, we did cover uh your statement already about 10 minutes ago. It was not K that was leaking his information. It was already leaked. It's been leaked. It's been leaked long time ago. So it is what it is, and since it was already out there, um, like I already said, I don't may not agree with it, but you gotta put yourself on the other side of the shoes and actually see the whole entire scope of what K is dealing with. Um, so that's that.
I'm just reading these comments. I tell you, boy, I don't know.
Shout out to the mods. Thank y'all. I'm not in there right now. Thank y'all for holding it down. Appreciate y'all being here.
Yes, one of our top mods are in the chat, and I mean not chat, the live, kicking it.
Yeah, I'm here
Yes.
with
What are you in a golf cart or something?
I'm on a it's a zero gravity dual swing. So
So
I
you
can
can
lay back.
point it with your head down.
Yeah, I can lay back. It has a pillow on my back and I can swing myself.
Oh
Uh
wow!
Zero anti-gravity. This is my zen.
I was
This is
about to say you could go to sleep in a chair like that.
and I do. I'll get some sunlight and hear the birds. I'll watch the deer just walk right across and I'll be very quiet and yeah,
Wow.
this is my zen right here.
I see. So do you guys want to hear the rest of the recording?
Shamar is dealing with an artist right now, and we don't need attorneys come knocking at the door and say, "Why is this on your live? Why
Right.
address it or anything like that?" So I'm just trying to keep things neutral and copacetic, and so I just wanted to clarify that. And
It's like now I'm gonna get real evil on you.
Right. Right.
I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't be bothering nobody unless they bother me, and then I have to defend my name.
Yeah. You don't want that to happen. Because you can get yourself jammed up.
Why?
You can get yourself jammed up and you don't need that to happen. You know what I'm saying? You got to be careful with that and stuff. But I'm gonna let you go, and it was nice talking to you, and I'm definitely gonna keep in touch, and you definitely do the same as well. And I am, like I said, I'm gonna go live today between 1 and 6 o'clock. It's gonna be 5 hours. I said five, but yeah. So I'll be going live doing a marathon, and I'll spread the word. What you said. What I did was I recorded on my other phone this phone conversation. You know, I'm transparent. If there's something you don't want me to ever put out there to the public, a picture you show me, a conversation, I won't put it out. I'm not one of them type of channel holders. So just always let me know. If you don't want to, if you're like, listen, don't share this with nobody, I won't do that. So just letting you know that. Okay? All right. So you take care, sweetie, and I'll talk to you soon. Hey guys. So I'm back. I made the Thinktress a mod. You are now a mod. I want to say thank you to all of my mods that held me down for almost 4 hours. We were gonna go 5 hours, but I got too much other stuff I gotta edit, and the day is almost at an end. Um, and I got some other stuff I want to put out for you guys, and I want to make sure it gets out today. I mean, I still got a whole bunch of other stuff that's not gonna be able to get put out today, but I want to at least put out two pieces of at least, well, not two, I'm lying, one more piece of work, and then the rest of it I will share with you guys tomorrow in the AM. We will be going live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know if we're gonna be doing these marathons every Sunday. I was gonna do 5 hours. I think 4 hours was a reach. I think an hour is adequate enough. But sometime when we have a lot of content to share and a lot to talk about, like we did today, I had over an hour long talk with Shamar early morning. Then we'll do these kind of marathons because it's content that you guys I'm sharing of my business. You know what I'm saying? On my channel. My back office conversations and stuff. But I really appreciate everyone that came to the live. And my mods, you are so dope. I love y'all. And player, you held it down. Cutie, thank you. You held it down too. And yeah, I'm watching how people are moving, and I'm definitely sure I'm definitely trying to get some more mods up in here. We're definitely gonna need it, especially if I'm gonna be going consistent with the live stream. I said live in with the live stream, and I'm gonna definitely need more mods because as you go live, because people love lives, just like everything out videos, period. But people can come in and troll. Hey, Big Red, love you too, sis. Thank you, baby girl. Yeah, so that's my sis right there. So I really truly appreciate everybody that came and joined. So I'm gonna end the live here. And I want to let y'all know that I want y'all to have a blessed weekend, because you definitely spent a few hours today that you didn't have to with me. I hope everyone enjoyed the S.O. Davis 5 hour. Yeah, I couldn't do the whole 5 though. Thank you so much, player, man. You held me down, sweetie. And you did too, cutie pie. I'm very appreciative of all my mods. Big Red in the building. Have a blessed day. 7. Savine, or is it 7 or Savine? Savine. Yep. So love y'all. Make sure y'all hit the like button on the way out. Love y'all. Stay blessed. I'm out. Mwah. Bye for now.